Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to what is this? It's like 135 episodes of Association Transformation with
This is, yeah,
my
135.
my lovely co-host Andrew Chamberlain, Elevated. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. Elisa Pratt, Brewer Pratt Solutions. Good to be back. Good to see you. Spring is in the air. I'm wearing color. This is great, and I'm excited for our next guest. We've been trying to get her for a long time. She's a
We
hot
have.
commodity,
She is.
and we've been waiting for a very, very long time.
Hmm.
Carter Lyons, Senior Director of Member Experience and Workforce Strategy with LeadingAge Virginia. Hi, Carter. Nice to see you.
Oh, it's great to be here. And you're right. It has been a long time coming, but I've been really excited. So I'm glad that today has arrived.
Well, there you go. And we knew each other back from Associated General Contractor days. So, as women coming out of the Construction Trade Association, it's good to see you. Congrats on your new role, which is not so new anymore.
Thank you.
Member experience. I always love when people use member experience in their titles. And we're talking about something that obviously has become or was your specialty and now has become an important part of your new role. And that's the engagement of young professionals in your space, in your industry, in your volunteer community. And Andrew's neither young nor professional. So this may just end up being mostly you and I chatting today. I'm sorry.
Enough, enough. Will you? Honestly, I am. Oh, no, you're right. I'm not. I'm neither. Yeah, okay,
No,
just
and
move
she already
on.
complimented your accent before we started recording. So just enjoy that. That's
Okay,
your win. That's your
there
win
you
for
go.
today.
I'm done. Thanks. I'm glad to have made my contribution.
Well, are any of your current clients working on young professional engagement?
Do you know, it's one of
So
those. Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. Were you talking to me or
Oh no,
Carter?
no,
Sorry.
Carter, let's quiz Andrew first. Let's see what he
perfect.
he
Sounds
brings to
great.
the table.
Okay, yeah. Yes, in so much as everybody is quizzing each other how to engage with a new generation in the workforce. And we're all and seemingly we're all just stupefied at the prospect, which just I find bizarre. Um, it's like we're talking about young professionals like they are a generation of aliens, and we have no concept about how to engage with them whatsoever, which I just find rather worrying. Because, you know, yes, people have different expectations, different experiences, different demands, expectations of their organization, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be responding to them. It just means we need to find new and innovative and creative ways of engaging with people. And I think it's something that the membership sector, more broadly speaking, isn't, well, it
They've
seemingly
never been
now
good
isn't
at it.
very good at it.
They've never been good at it. I mean, let's
No,
not pretend
no.
any association except maybe Future Farmers of America or something, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, something geared
Yes,
to
yes.
youth.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They have
Hmm.
a special niche here, but I can't pretend that any organization that represents a profession or an industry or a trade has ever really been great at this. And Carter, you come now from a unique niche profession and an association. Tell us a little bit about what Leading Age does and how that may make this even more challenging for you.
So first, I think you're exactly right. I think it is not a new conversation. I think going back as far as when I was in high school, this conversation existed about, you know, the next generation and how do we make sure that the proper training and tools are provided and how do we interest people in X career path. I mean, I think it's not a new conversation by any stretch. I
Hmm.
think we've exacerbated it in with great intentions, right? We're all trying to make sure that we're plugging people in where they can thrive. And so I think by doing that, we've sort of overthought it in some ways.
Hmm.
Not because it's not important, but I think we get very hung up on the word young.
Mm.
And I think we really dig into that, like we treat it like there's a big mystery around what everything or what everyone in that quote unquote younger generation wants. Like there's one thing.
Mm.
And I feel like it's really different. It's a different approach altogether. If you boil it all down, it's about getting to know people. if you get to know people, you can help find the right spot for anyone who's willing to find the right spot for themselves. There is no secret. We're all individuals. And so it doesn't matter what generation we're in, we're all still individuals. So I think that's really important to set the stage. I just think that we treat the new generation, which by the way, we always have a new one coming in, right?
Right.
Like the new
Right. And
generation
what
always
better?
has one behind it. And so there's no great secret to unlocking the current new generation. Now, are there differences? Of course, but that's just part of the human experience. And so I want us to really remember that. That is a big piece that I think is so, so important. For us here at LeadingAge Virginia, there's a huge workforce issue, challenge. And I'm also going to call it an opportunity because I truly believe that anytime there's a challenge, there is at least one, usually multiple opportunities that are tucked inside if we're willing to look for them. And so for us, we are doing a lot of work around making sure that we can support our members who are in turn supporting the residents in their community by making sure that they have highly qualified people who are ready to serve the residents in their community. It's a field where there can be very, very hard work involved, and there's a lot of, it can be very challenging emotionally. But, from the day that I started, the first thing that I heard, and I have heard it so many times since, is that once you find this field, you don't ever leave. And I've heard that from people who serve in every area of their community. And the one thing that you always hear them talk about, well, actually, there's two. You hear them talk about the residents that they serve, and they cannot do anything but smile when they talk about them. The other thing is they are so incredibly mission driven. And so, from a workforce standpoint, those are two huge things because this field is very, very rewarding. And there's just tremendous value in going home at the end of the night or at the end of the day and feeling like I really made a difference today. I made a difference for someone. And so, whether you are straight out of high school or college, or you've been in the field for your entire career, there's a ton of value in that. And I think we need to not overlook that. And we make an effort, while we're certainly looking for people who are at the beginning of their career, really the message is here's what you should understand about this field. And it's really easy to talk about.
Well, and that's what you mentioned this concept of youth. And I think we both learned during our time with construction and workforce advocacy and awareness. Construction may be like serving in the aging community and senior living environment. These can be individuals who are coming to it as a second or third career, or they're coming to it, later, in their 30s or in their 40s. So I think the search for youth as a pillar of workforce, to your point, is misdirected. I think someone told me a statistic that the average age of a first-year apprentice in construction is 28. So, this isn't always about engaging young professionals. I think is a reminder that they may not be interns or students or postdocs or postgraduates. These may be individuals who have lived some life and made some choices along the way. How do you then balance the need to introduce your sector, your profession to those who are not necessarily young, and then get them engaged in a quick pathway for participation with the organization?
So I think that it goes back to a lot of, why we're here. Why do people love what they do? And I think that can really resonate with people no matter where they are in their career journey. I think we have a huge advantage with our membership, the folks that we serve, like I said, they're so mission driven. They genuinely care about what they do. And so when we get them talking about it and when we get them connected with people who are looking for something like that, it's a different conversation than, a job posting, right? There's just a lot of ability to see that I'm going to be doing something meaningful. And so that's a big piece of what we do. There's obviously, there's a whole, as I think within any field, there are so many more things than what people see on the surface, right? So you mentioned construction, and people have a perception of what construction is. And really, there's a job for just about anybody who, in the construction arena, there's a job for just about anybody who's passionate about something. There's a whole lot more to it than, being on a job site. The same is true with the aging services field. It's really, our members like to say that it's the perfect blend of hospitality and healthcare. And so that just opens up a wide array of things that you can do. So that is a big part of our message too. And to your point, whether you're, straight out of school and beginning your journey, or you bring a wealth of experience, there's a place for you. And it's a rewarding and really, it's a rewarding opportunity, and it's also an opportunity for a career that can take you in a lot of different directions, and is, not only can it go in a lot of directions, but it has just a ton of potential for your future.
And I think sometimes when we talk, oh, well, actually, let me rephrase this. Do you find when we're talking to early career professionals, as
Mhm.
opposed to, young, as opposed to someone who is aged, whatever, in their early 20s or whatever, we talk about someone who's early in this particular career. Do you
Mhm.
find that if we're talking to if we if we're if we're specifying particularly about or an individual's what's the I'm trying to yeah, if we're really focusing on someone's inexperience in a career, does are we risking sort of perpetuating this issue of constantly separating, next generation from the current workforce? It feels a lot like if we're constantly referring to early career or young professionals, that we're somehow I get a sense sometimes that we're doing it with good intent.
Mhm.
We want to underpin you, we want to give you the support you need, etc. But it feels also like a consequence, an unintended consequence of that approach, is that we're kind of ostracizing them from the rest of the workforce and saying, but you're a bit different. You're not really part and parcel of who we are. You will be, but it's going to take you some time. And that almost feels like it perpetuates this problem of not really recognizing, as you say, not recognizing the value that people really bring to the role. Instead, we're pigeonholing them. I don't know. Mike, it's a couple of years since I was a young professional, so
A
maybe I've
couple.
completely a couple of
So
decades.
funny.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. And I'm sitting here nodding because I fully support what you're saying for a couple of reasons. First of all, being in this field, we are constantly looking at the language we use around aging.
Hmm.
In America, we have a lens with which we sometimes unconsciously view our older citizens in a very different way. And I think we do the same thing with our younger citizens as well, just broadly
Hmm.
speaking.
Hmm.
With that said, I also think that we do pigeonhole our younger professionals. And as you were talking, I was thinking about something. I think it's great to recognize really anyone. I think it's very important that we recognize people for their accomplishments. I think with a lot of great intention, we have created a lot of recognition around people who are, under 30, under 40, and they've accomplished amazing things. And those things are
I
very
hate
important.
those. I hate those. Why is there
Well,
not the best 46 under 46? Like why? Why? I hate those lists. And maybe, I don't know.
so I
Sorry, I'm
think that
making it
they're
about
very
me. I apologize.
no, but I think they're well intentioned. I really do.
Mm,
And I think
yeah.
that there's a lot to be said about somebody who accomplishes something amazing, early in their career. That's wonderful. And I think there's a whole lot of value in somebody who accomplishes something late in their career too. So the recognition is not the issue. But I also think about the fact that, we have a lot of young professional programs, early career professional programs, and we've sort of tagged this age of, they're targeted for people who are under 40. And again, well-intentioned, we're trying to support people as they're starting their career. And certainly there is a need for somebody who's early in a career, regardless of age, because a lot of those programs too are, under 40 and 5 years into the profession. Again, it's not a knock at those things, but I also am just so careful about remembering that there's no magic of, when you hit your 5th year of service or when
Yeah.
you turn
Hmm. Hmm.
41, you don't know everything, right? Like there's no magic to that, okay, well now I'm no longer a young professional, so I've got it. I need no more support,
You've
you know,
graduated.
right. As professionals, we should all be growing, period.
Ju-
And
The
I
more,
comment that because I just think there's no age where you know it all. And if you think you do, then that's a dangerous
yeah,
mindset.
yeah.
And so also as an association, we're here to help because the problems don't stop, the challenges, the questions, they don't stop. And so again, it's really about educating and supporting people and our members and the people that they support. It's for me, very personally, I feel strongly that it's not about somebody's age, it's about who they are and what they need and how we are positioning ourselves to help them.
Yeah. I really like
Wendy,
what you, oh, sorry, Lise, go on, go
no,
on.
you go ahead. You go ahead. I
Well, I was
defer.
just going to say, I really like, earlier on in the conversation, you were talking about, we're all individuals. We all bring to the table our distinct and wholly unique perspectives, expertise, skills, knowledge, views of the world, backgrounds, social backgrounds, education. We bring all of it, and every single one of us is different. And so, I really like how you describe that. And actually, it is about, when we talk about what associations or membership organizations are doing for, their members. Yes, I always say, look, we can't be everything to everybody. It's impossible. You can't. But I also think we can be, I think we can afford to be more, I think we could give more recognition to the individuality, the humanity of the membership, which is, I'm not one of the famous 40 under 40, but I still have a lot to, I
Yeah.
still have a lot to contribute and a lot to learn. It's interesting, at least when you were saying, why isn't there a 46 under 46? What, I hate them. I hate all these lists, but for very different reasons. It actually makes me feel really old, and it makes me start to feel irrelevant,
Right.
which
It makes
is
me feel
really,
old. It makes me feel overlooked. It makes me feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
the number one metric of my contribution to my industry is my age.
Hmm.
And
yes, yeah,
just saying that out loud makes me feel even older.
Hmm.
But because there was a point at which, and maybe Carter can identify, there was a point at which I was always the youngest in the room.
Mhm.
And in some industries, I was always the only female in the room.
mm,
And
mm,
there as things change, as that boardroom diversifies, or you shift to the other side of the spectrum, your perception does change. I think we all agree here that this isn't about a number. This is about a continuum of skills and knowledge. And you used the word earlier, Carter, relationship.
mm-hmm,
Yes.
This is about an association having a sincere and authentic relationship with its member and
Yes.
understanding what that member's needs are, not because of the date on their birthday, but because of where they are in the profession, when they've come to it, what their role is, what that member type is. And I think, yes, as I get older, is it convenient now that I no longer want to talk about age? Of course. but I really think that's not the point here. Because as the older population does grow, I think by 2030, there's expected to be 1 billion plus more individuals over the age of 65. That size of the population is going to become more, and we're going to be looking to them more as contributors to the workforce for longer. So if this catering to youth and this chasing of, the next gen at the expense of the generations we already have, I think we are being overly short-sighted and fall into some historic traps.
Yeah, and I think that when we really get things right, we as a member organization, we're a community. Like,
Yeah.
period. That is why we exist. And yes, we are, we're looking to offer benefits and we're looking to fill a need, but our members need community. They
Yeah.
need us because they are looking for, in addition to the actual association and what the staff can do, they're looking for people who are like them. They're looking for people who are facing the same challenges and who are seeking opportunity and who, can support each other. And so if we are doing our job, we are facilitating that community and we are breathing life into that community and we are making it as beneficial as possible, and not from the standpoint of beating the competitor down the street. We are doing it because our members came to us and they needed something.
Yeah.
And the more people that are in that room, the stronger the community.
Yeah.
And so, regardless of where you are in your career phase, you contribute to that community. You're a part of it.
Yeah.
And there is tremendous value in someone who is coming in with fresh eyes. There's also tremendous value in someone who is in that mid-career phase. And there's also tremendous value for someone who is on the verge of retirement.
Yeah.
Everybody is an individual who has a ton of different experiences that they are bringing to the community. Our communities are richer, whether we're talking about an association community or a community at large. Our communities are richer when we value the experiences of everyone who's in them. And so I think that's a really important piece. And I think it's so easy to focus on age. And again, I come back to a big piece of what we do at LeadingAge Virginia and our national organization, LeadingAge, and our state partners across the country. We're really tackling the conversation around age, and this plays into it. It's not just for people who are on, who are in that older adult category, but it applies. Our conversation around age is something that we need to be taking a look at. And again, I go back to, for me, it's just personally, I think it's about getting to know the people who are around you. And that applies whether the conversation is around our association members, whether it's around professional development, or whether it's around, how you treat the people who live next door to you. I mean, I just think it's about getting to know each other.
Well, those three categories that you mentioned, kind of early career, mid-career, senior career, none of those necessarily tie to a number, tie to an age.
Right.
And I can't help but reinforce the power of second and third career. If we're living longer, and if people are working for potentially 50 years, the modern, I know, sorry, Andrew.
Oh God, 50 years. Oh my
But
God. That means I've got another 35 to go.
Oh, stop it. Get out of here. But the modern likelihood of staying in one role with one company, even in one career or one specialty, one profession, is very low. So I think the need to reskill, the need to introduce your profession to those who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, all of that erases, I hope, the power of the number. And I think that you're right, that this is about creating that community. So maybe you have to have both to help people find individuals like themselves. It's not just about sharing, a challenge or being in the same career phase or being from the same region or in the same type of job. It may be, hey, I'm one of the youngest in the room, or hey, I'm, in a minority group within my specialty. Maybe we have to give them both, but not singularly focus on any one descriptor.
Great. I think that's true. And one of the things that I love about association work is that we have the ability to really positively impact a group of people who truly care about what they do. And that's for me at LeadingAge Virginia, and that has been true for me in every association I've served. It's a unique career. It's a unique thing that we get to do. It's an honor to be able to do it. And I think that just that power of community in general is, it's for me something that I think is so important. And we get to see a lot of the challenges that people face, and we get to find a way to either solve them or, you know, look at them and say, okay, how are we going to get there together? And there's just huge power in that. And it's really cool because while they do have one thing in common, while our members do have one thing in common, and that is their profession, they also are bringing such a breadth and depth of experience and knowledge and skill and passion and so many other things. And so for me, I go
Mm.
back to, yes, do we need to be recruiting people who are recruiting people in general? Do we need to be bringing new talent into the profession? Absolutely. And is it about one specific demographic? I would argue that it is not.
Mm.
Well, we can't even afford it. We're
I agree.
competing with too many other industries and
That's true.
specialties to singularly target. We can't be that. We don't
Mm.
have that luxury.
That's true.
Um,
I also think that there's a lot to be said for, and this again goes back to associations being uniquely positioned. Um, the people that I work with and the people here, the people I work with at LeadingAge Virginia in terms of our members and other members that I have served in other organizations, other associations, the people who tend to be members of associations are really passionate about what they do. And so by being a part of a community, that helps them to be more excited about what they do. It helps them to be more connected to what they're doing. And what does that do? It helps you then to sort of make the industry or the field, or, it helps it to have more of a compelling argument. How do you how do you recruit people? Well, I mean, there's a job posting, right? But the word of mouth, the power of word of mouth is significant. And
Hmm.
so when you've got a group of people who very clearly love what they do, it's easy to it's easy to talk about. It's easy to make that a really attractive career option because you see people who love what they do. And so again, we do so much more than workforce. I mean, it's obviously a big deal, but it's really helping people find a career path that they love, helping people love the job that they have. And when you do that well, recruiting becomes a very different conversation. And retaining becomes a very different conversation because that's the other piece. We talk a lot about recruitment, and that retention
Hmm.
piece is obviously a huge part of it.
Hmm. Oh, at
so
least you've gone quiet. Sorry, you're on mute, Lee.
I,
Sorry, I thought you were coming in with
I'm
something
trying
then.
to I'm trying to give you space in this conversation. I mean,
No,
I'm starting to deliberate the top 100 under 100.
yeah, maybe I'll make that list one day.
I
I
don't
should no,
know.
but as Carter, as you're talking, I'm thinking it's I'm reflecting, and it's one of the ironies I think of the membership sector that we talk extensively in all our marketing spiel, in all our promotional materials. We talk extensively about the sense of belonging and the
Mhm.
need and the provision of community, and that's why associations exist. That's why membership bodies exist. Is that opportunity to connect? And as you're talking, I'm thinking yes, and actually, I think to date it's been a lost opportunity. We talk a good game, but we don't necessarily follow up in reality with that holistic, with the provision of a truly holistic community. And I think, a lesson learned from a lot of what you're saying today is that actually we need to stop, as a sector, we need to stop talking about it, and we need to actually start living it. Because I think the people that people that I've learned most from, the people that I've enjoyed working with throughout my career are always the people who are completely at other ends of their career from me, have got completely different perspectives on the world, you know. And I think, yeah, as you're talking, I'm thinking, when I'm working with clients and they're getting all excited and gung ho about their young professionals programs, their future leaders programs, which I know with their future leader programs, they're talking about young
They're well
professionals.
intentioned. They're well
Always
intentioned.
well intentioned, but I think it's with blinkers on. I think they're doing it. I think we're too blinkered as a sector, and that
Wait, what's that
actually,
mean? Hold on. Let me translate this for Carter. What is blinkered
you
mean?
know what blinkers are? You got horses in America.
Oh, you
Blinkers
mean
is what
blinders.
blinkers.
I'm just
Wh-
trying to ensure that our non-UK audience knows the depth and value of your
Oh,
sentiment.
if you're Canadian, Australian, a Kiwi from South Africa, anyone across continental Europe, South America, or indeed anywhere else in the world I haven't mentioned, please write in and explain that you know what blinkers are.
Don't make us feel bad for not knowing. We asked for clarity so we could understand you.
You're right. You're
Blinkers
right.
I
I
learned
translates
something
to
new
apologize.
today.
blinders.
There you
It
go.
translates to
There you
blinders.
go. Of course,
Just
not
so you know.
everybody I work with I enjoy. I mean, there is that as well.
Don't fight in front of the children, Andrew. Let's
You're
not show
right.
Carter
You're
our
right.
true colors. But
No, I
all right, so
think
here's
everybody knows them.
here's what I've taken from this. We're not going to focus on numbers. We're going to focus more on our members' needs. However, whatever those may look like, we're going to focus on sincere and authentic relationships. We're going to stop complicating this and
Mm,
just get to it.
mm, mm-hmm,
Keep it
mm-hmm.
simple. Keep it focused on members. Keep it focused on retention. And by demonstrating the passion of what we do for our members and the passion of what they do in their fields, that is our best path to increased awareness and increased workforce development opportunities. Is that the write up on this?
Think that's right. And
Well, I've heard.
as you were talking, I don't want to come across that there's not ever a place for a young professionals group because there is power. That's a community within a community, right? And I do think that there is potentially an opportunity for segmented groups to find value in connection with each other. So I certainly don't want to say that they're bad and that there's no value. I just think we need to be careful. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really where I think if we are really focusing on people as people and how we can help them get where they need to go and how we can get to one place together or to many places together as a community, then I think that's our job as an association. And I think there's tons of opportunity to do that. And so it may be both. But I do think that we should not overthink it. And I think
Yeah.
that it's easy to do from a very well-intentioned place, like we've said.
Yeah.
So I I have had the good fortune and the honor to work with a lot of different groups of people. And the other thing that I would say is I think we sometimes treat our early career professionals, our young professionals, we sort of have this idea that, like we were saying before, once they hit a certain age, then they've arrived. And I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that really all of us are leading wherever we are in
Mm-hmm.
our journey. We are all leading right now. So it's not the future leaders, they're leaders.
Mm.
It's not the, former leaders who are about to step away from their role, they're still leading. We're all leading. We're all people. And so I just think that there's a lot, I go back to what I've said. And so um, I'm really grateful to work in a profession where we just get to support other people so well. When we do our jobs well, we get to help other people. And that means a lot to me.
Well, and this perspective that you have coming from the aging industry, I think is a unique one, and we're so thankful that you joined us. I mean, this is a topic we could dive into over and over and over. I think what we probably should do is start shifting to best practicing. And I'd encourage our listeners, no matter what industry you're in, what country you're in, where you are in your career phase, to share with us what's working as you sincerely engage your member audiences and help them build that community of authenticity and that community of value. Because this really just has to come down to sharing ideas and copy paste and borrowing what's working in other spaces, instead of trying to recreate this young career, young professional group that is in itself not an outcome. So Andrew, any closing thoughts before I'm going to let Carter go? We're keeping her. It's a beautiful day outside. I can tell because of her amazing window.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, you've got beautiful blue skies there. It's been lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon. I've got quite a lot of thoughts to be taken back with clients in the coming weeks. Actually, I'm thinking as you're talking, I've got quite a few ideas for my clients.
Well,
if you're listening, clients, be worried.
Well, then you come back, tell us what's worked from those engagements. We'll get some more ideas from Carter and the whole LeadingAge network. Great things happening all across the country with LeadingAge. And until then, put your members and your mission first.
Good.